It is now Saturday, May the 13th, 2017. It's like 2000 Eastern Standard Time. This is the entrance to the nominal University of Notre Dame, and Robert J. Moore, Institute St. Michael the Archangel, Branch 4, Associate Administrative Assistant, is here. He's trying to contribute what he can to have no part of the works of darkness, but to expose them by contrast, and that is the statute of the Blessed Virgin Mary on the 100th anniversary of the initial appearance at Fatima. Reporting live from South Bend, Indiana. I guess this is Notre Dame, Indiana, actually. This is the rest of that report on the Notre Shame. We also have a unthanks to Mike Pence from posterity. This is May 13th. It's now past 2000, and this question is being asked on behalf of posterity by posterity's next friend, Robert J. Moore, unworthy as he is of that title. Mr. Pence, will you defraud posterity by condoning this Ephesians 5:8 work of darkness's track record? A question for Mr. Pence. Over here we have Notre Shame. Unthanks, Mike, from posterity. This is at the entrance of Angela Boulevard and Notre Dame Avenue, and that is the statute of the Mother of God, which is being exploited. And do you think, Mr. Pence, and do you think the University of No Shame, that anyone will ever get away with exploiting the Blessed Virgin Mary with impunity? And if you think so, maybe you should read Hebrews 10:31 and read the Last Judgment in St. Matthew, and read through some of the other warnings, some of the admonitions. It's not just all this picture of Jesus with a little lamb that couldn't cleanse the temple, or couldn't, couldn't hit his way out of wet paper sack, which has been presented as the person of Jesus Christ, which is an abomination unto the Lord. Because the reality is, John 2:16, and the reality is to never render unto Caesar what rightfully belongs to God. Matthew 22:21 and Acts 5:29, we must obey God rather than men. 1 Corinthians 5:22, never incur complicity in anyone else's sin. And that then comes down through the history. David Koppel has provided the Catholic Second Amendment, which is invaluable to understand the moral principles in the natural law, referenced in Romans 2:15, that there is a moral obligation in certain circumstances to use force to prevent an evil that is demonstrably worse than whatever the foreseeable unintended consequences are in a given instance of using force. That's contrapredatory force. And that is the true Catholic teaching. It always has been. And then that can be tracked through Magna Carta Clause 61, and then through the various encyclicals, papal encyclicals, dealing with this type of issue, which we get into specifically DVD Rein Abtoris, the address to Pius XI, on the burden when one country is under attack. All things other than its defense must be given second place. Obviously, after the religious obligations, that's a return to the terms of the moral commandments, the requirements of the moral commandments. And then the Christmas message in 1956 of Pope Pius XII, in which he laments that there's an excessive concern in terms of the maintenance of health or operational capacity, and that was coming out of after the Hungarian Revolution and all the counter-revolution, actually, because what the Bolsheviks do, the communists do, is revolution, and what they encounter then is the response to revolution, which is to restore the non-counterfeit version of the rule of law. Okay, that's RJM reporting over and out. It's now like 8:15, and until the next segment, over and out. So this, here we have a picture of what the consequences are when you have members of 10 families that have between $700,000 trillion worth of legal claim to resources throughout the world, control all the money supplies of all the European countries and all the countries colonized by European countries other than Venezuela, Belarus, and Guernsey. And this is a picture of the fireball at the World Trade Center on September 11th of 2001, when you have that arrangement and a complacent population of Goyim with their heads in the sand, just a collection of ostriches with their heads in the sand, and lemmings just going off the cliff, and otherwise just spineless, convictionless chameleons. You're going to get this type of horror. That just addition and subtraction. And we're out here and we're complaining that Mr. Pence is just contributing to the problem by at least implicitly condoning the past works of darkness of this University of Nominal Notre Dame. It can't be. That's too good to be true.